Hey guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel Accounts Guru Cool. Learn accounting online. So today we are here with one more content, and in this we are going to discuss about accounts payable, interview preparation, key questions and answers. So request all the viewers to be with us till the end of this to get more clarity about what sort of key questions is going to be and how you have to give the answers for that. In addition to this, if you guys are looking for any sort of training related to accounting and finance, then you can connect with us on our email ID accounts.gurukul@yahoo.com. Either if you're looking for training towards the P2P, O2C, R2R, or FP&A, or in addition to that, if you're looking for any software training related to accounting and finance, then you can connect with us on our email ID accounts.gurukul@yahoo.com. Now, the first questions towards the accounts payable interview preparation is that what is the primary functions of the accounts payable department? So we have considered here the few questions. That's not going to be says the 100 questions or something like that. Whatever is going to be the key questions and from which you guys are able to get a more insight about accounts payable interview preparations, how you have to prepare for that and what sort of questions is going to be. So the first one, what is the primary function of the accounts payable department? When you are looking yourself to join accounts payable department, then this is important for you to have a clarity about what is the primary functions of the accounts payable department and how you have to give the answer for that. The primary function of the accounts payable department is to manage and process payments owed by a company to its vendors, suppliers, and creditors. This involves verifying invoices, ensuring the accuracy of financial data, maintaining vendor relationship, and executive executing timely payments. The accounts payable team plays a crucial role in maintaining a company's financial health by managing cash flow, preventing duplicate payments, and ensuring compliance with payment terms and financial regulations. Now, if you see here, in the first question itself, when you are giving the answers, then you are explaining that entire functions of the accounts payable department. And when you are giving the answers in a that a way, then the interviewer also is going to be impressed through your answers that you and he is able to know that you have the in-depth knowledge about accounts payable. Since it's explain the first one, what's accounts payable department going to manage, how it's going to involve for verifying invoices, what's the roles and responsibility also is explained here, and how it's important that accounts payable department play a crucial role. That everything is explained in a first answer itself. So you have to give the answers in a better way. You need to understand how what accounts payable department is going to do, and you have to put it in your own words and explain that. Now the next one, what is the three-way match process in accounts payable? This is going to be the common, or you can say that in every interview towards the accounts payable, this question is going to be, what is the three-way match process in accounts payable? The three-way match is a critical control process in accounts payable that helps prevent errors and fraud. It involves comparing three key documents: the purchase order, the receiving report, and the vendor invoice. So here, the three-way match, it means we have to do the verification of the whatever the ERS, that evaluated receipt of systems, is generated from GRN. So what we are going to do is that one is receiving report means GRN. Second, what's our purchase order? And the third, what the invoice we have received. So we need to see either these three documents are in line or not. That's the three-way match. And if your GRN and your invoice is not matching, then you need to reject that invoice and get the clarifications from the respective team on that invoice. Next, the process ensures that by doing this, the process ensures that the goods or services ordered were actually received and that the invoice details match the original order. Specifically, the quantity and price on the PO should match the receiving report and the invoice. Any discrepancies found during this process are investigated and resolved before payment is authorized. This process helps maintain accuracy in financial records and prevents overpayments or payments for undelivered goods or services. So, this is the meaning of the three-way match process in accounts payable. Next is, how do you prioritize vendor payments when cash flow is tight? This is also the one of the important one to know what sort of skills you have when any organizations the cash flow is tight, then how you manage or how you prioritize the payments when cash flow is tight. So what sort of answers you have to give it here is that the prioritizing vendor payments during tight cash flow situations requires a strategic approach. First, I would review all outstanding invoices and their due dates, focusing on those that are critical to maintaining operations or have early payment discounts. Next, I would consider the importance of each vendor relationship and the potential consequences of delayed payments. Priority would be given to utilities, essential supplies, and vendor crucial to daily operations. I would also look for opportunities to negotiate extended payments terms with less critical vendors. Additionally, I would work closely with the finance team to forecast cash flow and plan payments accordingly. The goal is to maintain good relationship with key vendors while managing the company's cash position effectively. So how do you prioritize vendor payments when cash flow is tight? So you have to give the answers from your experience itself says that key priority would be given towards the essential supplies or utilities or salaries to the employees, and then the important payment whatever is going to be, and the rest we have to keep a try to postpone that expenses, postpone that payments by having the good relations with customers and vendors, and we have to prioritize that. The next, how do you ensure the accuracy of data entry in accounts payable? When you are doing the data entry, when you are validating the invoices, then how you are going to ensure the accuracy for that? Ensuring accuracy in data entry is crucial for accounts payable functions. I employ several strategies to maintain high levels of accuracy. Firstly, I always double check entries before submitting them, paying close attention to details like invoice numbers, dates, and amounts. I also utilize built-in system control and validation checks in the accounting software to catch potential errors. Regular reconciliation of accounts and spot checks on processed invoices help identify any discrepancies. Additionally, I believe in continuous training and staying updated on best practices in data entry. How do you ensure the accuracy of data entry in accounts payable? If you see the questions is going to be related to your experience, and when you're giving an interview being as an experienced person, so you have to share your experience, how you ensure in your role, that's important. And for that, based on your experience, you have to give the answer for that. Here it's a one example, but it's not going to say that you have to explain in the same way, but how you have to explain, that's important, and what information is going to be required in that, that's going to be give the benefit for you to crack an interview. Next, what steps do you take to prevent duplicate payment? So whenever we are process working towards the accounts payable, there might be the scope or there might be the chances for having the duplicate payment. Then how you prevent that? What steps do you take to prevent duplicate payment? Preventing duplicate payment is essential to protect the company's financial resources. My approach includes several key steps. First, I ensure that each invoice is assigned a unique identifier in the system. I meticulously check for any existing entries with the same invoice number, date, or amount before processing a new invoice. Utilizing the three-way match process helps identify potential duplicates. I also maintain an organized filing system for processed invoices and regularly review aged payable reports. If the accounting system allows, I set up alert for potential duplicate entries. Lastly, I encourage clear communications with other team members to avoid multiple people processing the same invoice. So by default in the system itself, in the software, if you are processing any invoice with the same invoice number, then system itself is going to give the alert for that, stating duplicate invoice. But there is a scope to do the manual alteration with that invoice, and you can process that. But it's important for us to know and to validate either that how much is quantity in the PO, how much is the invoice we already booked, and how much is quantities left. And if having the same sort of descriptions for the same month, we receive the two invoices, even though having the different invoice number, then we have to reinsure either that's not be the duplicate one. How do you handle discrepancies between purchase order and an invoice? When handling discrepancies between a purchase order and an invoice, my first step is to carefully review both documents to understand the nature and extent of the discrepancy. I then reach out to the relevant parties, typically the purchasing department and the vendor, to investigate the cause of the difference. If it's pricing discrepancy, I check for any recent price agreements or contract changes. For quantity discrepancies, I consult with the receiving department to verify what was actually delivered. Once I have gathered all necessary informations, I work on reconciling the difference, which may involve requesting a corrected invoice from the vendor or getting approval for the price variance or variances from the appropriate authority within the company. Throughout this process, I ensure clear documentation of all communications and resolutions for audit purpose. So when we are doing the three-way check, might be we are able to face such kind of issues. The discrepancies between the purchase order and invoice. Might be the purchase order is with different number and the invoice what we have received is a different number. Either that's price variations or quantity discrepancies, whatever it may be. If it's price discrepancies or quantity discrepancies, first we have to connect with the purchase department to get a clarity on that. And then if they allowed, then we have to connect to the suppliers as well to get the corrections either in invoice or from our team towards the purchase PO from the purchase department. What internal controls do you think are essential in an accounts payable department? Essential internal controls in an accounts payable department are crucial for preventing fraud and ensuring accuracy. Key controls includes segregation of duties, where different individuals are responsible for approving invoices, entering data, and issuing payment. The three-way match process is another vital control. So internal control, the person who is approving invoice is different, entering data is different, and issuing payment is different. Regular account reconciliations and audits help identify discrepancies. Implementing approval hierarchy for invoices based on amounts thresholds adds an extra layer of oversight. Strict vendor management procedures, including regular vendor master file audits, help prevent fraudulent vendors. What is the significance of the accounts payable turnover ratio? The accounts payable turnover ratio is a key financial metric that measures how quickly a company pays off its suppliers. It's calculated by dividing the total purchase or cost of sales by the average accounts payable for a given period. This ratio is significant for several reasons. Firstly, it indicates a company's cash management efficiency and its ability to pay short-term obligations. So for this company, this what is the significance of the accounts payable turnover ratio? So that's going to be the important one. And a higher ratio suggests that the company pays its suppliers quickly, which can be good for vendor relationship, but might also indicate that the company isn't taking full advantage of a credit terms. Conversely, a lower ratio might suggest the company is slow to pay its bill, which could strain vendor relationship or indicate cash flow problems. This ratio is also useful for comparing a company's payment practices to industry standards and can be an indicator of a company's bargaining power with suppliers. So this vendor, the accounts payable turnover ratio is going to be the important one. What steps do you take to handle vendor disputes? Whenever there is any dispute related to the accounts payable from the vendor sides, then how you're going to handle that? The handling the vendor disputes effectively requires a systematic and professional approach. When a dispute arises, I start by gathering all relevant information, including the purchase order, receiving report, invoice, and any previous communications with the vendor. I then reach out to the vendor to discuss the issues, aiming to understand their perspective and provide any necessary clarifications. If the dispute is due to discrepancies in quantities, prices, or terms, I work with the internal purchasing and receiving department to verify the fact. If any discrepancies are there and if any vendor disputes we have, then the first step is going to be go into the depth and to identify what's the disputes over there, what's the reason for that disputes, and who is going to be give the clarity on that. Either that purchase department is going to be responsible for that, or any GRN team, then the mistakes from their end, or vendor end has any issues. So we have to find out what went wrong and then we have to work on the solutions. I maintain open and respectful communications with the vendor throughout the process, documenting all discussions and agreed upon resolutions. If the issues cannot be resolved, I escalate it to higher management or seek legal advice if necessary. The goal is to resolve dispute quickly and fairly to maintain a good working relationship with the vendor. At the end of the day, our objective get resolutions on that vendor disputes quickly. So that's the way we have to answer. The next one, how do you handle foreign currency transactions in accounts payable? Handling foreign currency transactions requires careful attention to exchange rates and international payments methods. When processing foreign currency invoices, I first verify the currency and the applicable exchange rate on the invoice date. I record the transactions in the company's base currency, ensuring accurate conversion based on current exchange rates. I also monitor any exchange rate fluctuations that might impact the payment amount. For the actual payment, I ensure that the vendor's bank details are correctly entered for international transfers and comply with any required regulatory documentations. So that's the way how I do handle foreign currency transactions in accounts payable. How do you manage the accounts payable aging report? Managing the accounts payable aging report involves regular review and analysis to ensure timely payments and maintain good vendor relationships. The aging report categorizes outstanding payable by the length of time they have been unpaid, typically in 30-day increments. I start by generating the aging report and reviewing it to identify any overdue invoices. I prioritize payments based on the due date, payment terms, and any early payment discounts available. I follow up on any discrepancies or issues that may be causing payment delays, communicating with vendors to confirm payment schedules, and addressing any concerns promptly is also essential. Regularly updating and reconciling the aging report helps in accurate financial reporting and cash flow management. So, how do you manage the accounts payable aging report? So what we have to do is that we have to pull out the aging report. We need to see what are all the invoices is beyond 30 days is outstanding. What's the reason for that? Any dispute, any clarification is going to be required on that. Or if we have hold that invoices, then we need to get the clarifications. We have to reach to the respective team. And if it's need, any support is required from vendors, we have to ask him and we have to keep him updated. So that's the way we manage the accounts payable aging report. What are the common challenges in accounts payable and how do you overcome them? Common challenges in accounts payable include managing high volume of invoices, ensuring data accuracy, preventing fraud, and maintaining good vendor relationship. To overcome the challenges, I implement several strategies using automation tools and software to streamline invoice processing and reduce manual data entry is essential. Regular training and updates on best practices help maintain accuracy and compliances. Implementing strong internal controls, such as segregations of duties and approval workflows, helps prevent fraud. Maintaining open communications with vendors and addressing their concerns promptly ensures good relationships. Regularly reviewing and updating process to improve efficiency and accuracy is also crucial. So when you are going to give the answer for such questions. What are the common challenges in accounts payable and how do you overcome them? And when you explain some sort of challenges and how you overcome them, so that's going to give the confidence to the interviewer that you are the one who are the good for that profile. So that's the accounts payable interview preparations, key questions and answers. So request viewers to be with us and like, share, and subscribe our channel to get a more insight about accounting and finance. In addition to that, if you want to know more about our courses, then you can visit our website accountsgurukul.com, or you can connect with us on our email ID accounts.gurukul@yahoo.com. Thank you.